Have you ever been in an argument where you know for sure that you're right? Sometimes these are factual arguments where you can pull out your phone and with a quick Google search, prove that you're right. Other times, these are arguments of opinion, but you still know that you're right. And even if you don't, many of us would still make our case, because the truth is, none of us like being wrong. This is literally wired into our brains. Studies show that our brains actually react to being told our beliefs are wrong the same way as to threats to our physical well-being. We are designed to have different worldviews, and also designed to being adverse to being told they're wrong. Every part of our opinions, every part of our beliefs, from our big opinions down to the little preferences we have, are building blocks to how we perceive the world and ourselves. You can think of it as a Jenga tower, with our experiences, our beliefs, our values, and our learnings building towers of what we believe. Sometimes, an attack on a belief can feel like pulling a block out of the tower. Sometimes, the block is near the top of the tower, and pulling it out might not disrupt too much. Other times, it can be like pulling one from the middle or the base of the tower and can feel like the certainty of our beliefs is crumbling. Now, this can be uncomfortable and scary, because now we must build from the bottom up with the new information presented to us. It's human nature to want to avoid this feeling as much as possible. So instead of listening to new perspectives and questioning our own beliefs, we surround ourselves with people who will validate us, even if we may be wrong. But how do we do this? With the friends we choose, the content we consume, and with algorithms we're not even choosing for ourselves. We're constantly inundated with people and content that's confirming our beliefs and biases, and we don't often realize it's happening. Everyone can fall into these traps, but there is a way to break free, and that's with intellectual humility. Intellectual humility is the ability to be open to new ideas, and recognizing your own beliefs and ideas are not the only way to think. It's the ability to change your mind when you're presented with better and more sound information, and the willingness to move into those spaces where being right is less important than being open. Intellectual humility is treating others with the same respect and kindness that you would want when learning. Instead of making someone feel bad for not knowing, it's teaching them and helping them work towards an answer instead of feeling like a failure. Intellectual humility is about how we receive, and how we share information. Let me give you an example of a time where I didn't practice intellectual humility. In my social justice class, we were having a political debate, and another student made a comment that I strongly disagreed with. Now, in my very humble opinion, I was objectively right, so I argued against his point. While arguing, my hope was to come across as credible to him and to the teacher and to prove my point. But in the end, my approach worked against me. My insistence on being right and proving him of the truth undermined my credibility because I was closed off to considering his point of view. Instead of engaging in a civil discussion to create understanding, I pushed him away, which polarized our opinions further and created animosity. If I had approached this same situation, practicing intellectual humility, I might have listened more, been open to the possibility that I wasn't right, tried to understand his point of view, and been willing to shift my own to find that common ground of understanding. By doing this, I would have made a connection. And in fact, I would have been perceived as more credible because I would have allowed my beliefs to be challenged by others and by myself, but still been able to respectfully defend them. Reflecting on this interaction in my social justice class, I realized it wasn't intuitive for me to practice intellectual humility. You know, in school, we're often taught to debate, to defend, and to justify. And we're taught far less to listen, to understand, to empathize, and especially to be open to being wrong. But which is the better way? I'm not saying it has to be all or nothing, but how could we include more intellectual humility in our interactions? I think it starts simply with humility, as the name states. Humility is letting go of the fallacy that you are superior and right. This doesn't mean you're wrong, which is what usually triggers us, but it allows for the possibility of both people being right. or where neither a new reality where neither you nor the other person is objectively right or wrong. As the renowned physicist Niels Bohr says, the opposite of a fact is falsehood, but the opposite of one profound truth may very well be another profound truth. Intellectual humility is actively practicing and making peace with this mindset. It sounds simple, but for most of us, it takes a moment of reflection to recognize when we could benefit from intellectual humility, and sometimes the uncomfortable realization that we may not be doing this already. The next time you're in a conversation with someone with a different view, ask yourself how you could be more intellectually humble. See what that does, not only for your relationship, but for your own peace of mind. The next time you're online reading about a topic that matters to you, seek out a news site and see what someone else with a different opinion feels about this topic. Allow it to challenge you, shift your thinking, or strengthen your belief. Let intellectual humility permeate into your practice and your consciousness, because the person you are today only exists because the person you were was willing to grow into someone new. Thank you.